This week on The Droids, we're talking about all of the new things coming to Disney+. They're not new series, they're old ones, but we haven't been able to watch them in quite some time, and they're all on Disney+ beginning April 2nd. Plus, we also talk about, oh man, that's a lot of pluses to begin the show. Kathleen Kennedy has been reaffirmed as the lead for Lucasfilm by Bob Chapek. We'll talk about that and oh so much more on The Droids.
Plus.
Welcome back to The Droids You're Looking For, a Star Wars podcast, the Plus Edition. Meaning it's just Ryan, Chris, and Mike, so I guess we don't actually have a plus in this, not a plus one.
Here's the thing. Sam heard about a guy comes in on the king tide, brings fish. This is a Justice League reference.
Yes.
I just have to share with the world. We have a little text chain, and every time Justice League is mentioned, Chris does a recording of that, a new recording every time, and sends it to us.
Always great, and I love it.
It makes me laugh every time.
I never understand that I didn't realize until I think the last couple times that it disappears.
Yeah, whenever I play it, it says we'll be here for another 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what is that, a copyright infringement? I don't know what that is.
It's a Mission Impossible thing.
Hans Zimmer is very litigious.
Yeah, it just burns away. Well,
but anyway, Sam's looking into getting a team together.
I like it. Hey, you're listening. If you're listening to this, you must be a member of Droids Pod Plus.
What do we offer, Chris, in Droids Pod Plus? Please elaborate.
You actually get less than if you just
have
subscribe.
To ask, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
I actually think that anytime
less.
Yeah, you get less than if you actually subscribe.
You're not allowed to have all the episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're paying to not get us.
This is going to end at 30 minutes, no matter what. The plus means there's more on the other side.
We cut out all the chit chat where we just talk about our lives. You get only the meat. You get none of the chuffa.
Star Wars
That actually
released.
does sound like a really good version of the pod.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but are we interested in a really good version, or are we interested in an honest version?
Yeah.
I do think after the WandaVision finale, though, I feel like anytime we want to ask each other a question about what we're talking about, we need to say, I require elaboration.
That's right.
I don't know. That stuck with me.
I think that we should have to talk about the king tide. Comes in on the king tide.
That's
not even a reference to the Snyder cut. That's in the trailer for the original cut of Justice League. I just love the Ben Affleck's delivery. Heard there's a man comes in on the king tide.
Is that when he's like at the bar?
He's at the bar and he's looking for Aquaman.
Yeah.
But I've watched all three. I've watched Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League, and I don't remember anything about those movies.
Can't remember
nothing.
Like of them. Yeah.
Well, I'll say I got up. I mean, this isn't a Justice League pod, but maybe there's some overlap in people who are interested. I got up at 6 a.m. today to watch the Snyder Cut, not because I'm excited about the Snyder Cut, but because I'm excited to just see this relic of something. I want to see what happens when the evil fandom wins and HBO has to spend $70 million on it.
Yeah, that's the only thing that would get me to watch it.
It's crazy. It's crazy that that toxic fandom won on this. But anyway,
it also won with The Rise of Skywalker. Let's be honest.
Yeah, in a different way.
Yeah.
But now it's enabling toxic fandom to be like, hey, if we just harass people online, eventually they'll just give us it. They'll give us this ambiguous movie that doesn't actually exist. So I got up at 6 a.m. to watch the Justice League Snyder Cut today, and I'll tell you what, that thing's 4 hours long.
So you got up at 2 a.m.
And that being said, I mean, well, this comes... Mike, I'm not sure you'll remember much of it anyway.
I guess that's fair.
I mean, it's 4 hours, and I don't remember being bored, but if you asked me, what happened for 4 hours, I'd be like, I don't know.
But that's an amazing thing that can happen, especially for a group of people like us who dissect storylines and characters and some of our favorite things, that it can just wash over you and be so effortlessly blah that you don't remember it.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a different pod, I suppose, and like Sam will be furious that he's not here when we're talking about this.
Yeah, right.
But
new Sam or old Sam?
Old Sam will be furious. But it's interesting. So what's fascinating to me about the Snyder Cut is that, and again, I said this to you guys privately, I can't say whether it's good or bad. It just is. It just exists. And it is like undeniable as a piece of like superhero media, but like I don't like it. It's so odd. It's so odd. I mean, maybe we'll do an outpost on it or something. It's just such a strange experience to be like, this is a complete vision that I think is a terrible idea.
It's in 4:3.
It's in 4:3. They're saying that the best version is in black and white. I don't know why.
I'm pulling the contrast out of my TV. Desaturate.
Can I ask you though, like, why is the best version of a Justice League movie R-rated and in black and white?
Do you think the 4:3 is so they didn't have to animate CGI beyond the 4:3?
Wow.
No, because it's actually more. Like it's not like they're cutting off the sides. It's that they're giving you the top and bottom.
The image is smaller.
I see
I
what
gotcha.
you're saying.
That's funny,
so
Mike.
the image is actually bigger. It's just smaller on our
They
TVs.
actually gave you 33% less of the movie.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Wow.
It's fascinating.
I guess I'll have to watch a few minutes just to know what's going on.
Well, I mean, there's no such thing as a few minutes in this movie. You're watching an hour.
Doesn't scale that way.
At 2 hours in, I said the theatrical run would have been over by now. And I'm halfway through this thing.
Do you think we'll ever see the Edwards cut of Rogue One or the Lord and Miller cut of Solo?
Wow.
Yeah, I think that Disney will give them, $70 million to finish it.
Part of the deal with Disney, though, was the access to that vault. And then they have to put the unused footage in the vault, and we know how accessible.
Lord and Miller will be like, you have to see our version of Solo. It's 5.5 hours long.
Honestly, if Zack Snyder, which I also heard he was not paid for this or something. It was like a labor of love. Is that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think he got salary for like redoing it.
Interesting. I mean, all these guys should be like, let's put another movie on your streaming service. Let's get my cut out there.
Yeah, that's not a bad point, especially if the pandemic, we look like we're in better shape, but if things were to extend and they're desperate for content and they've got like, hey, we do have an extra 2 hours of Solo.
Yeah.
And we could put it out there and basically we'll be like, this is the uncut improv, every improv take. So like you sit in the Falcon cockpit for about an hour seeing different versions of the jokes that they tell. I'd watch it.
Hey, if you could chop that up and make it Solo too, even better.
That is the next step of like, so we're in a world of reboots and remakes because they're capitalizing on. It's just they're capitalizing on nostalgia. Now they're just like releasing the movies again, but longer.
Yeah, exactly. We basically have.
Hey, George was the one who started it.
Yeah, we came full circle back to just DVDs with extended scenes.
And the last thing I'll say on this is that the Snyder Cut is 4 hours long, and they say like this was the original vision, and it's like, then I don't think he understood the assignment because movies aren't 4 hours long generally.
He got the award for longest movie.
This movie is longer than Lawrence of Arabia.
Notably,
did it have an intermission? Because I think I had an intermission when I saw Lawrence of Arabia.
No, it is split into parts, though.
Okay.
Oh.
It's split into 7 parts.
The server,
so, like,
server probably can't handle it.
Imagine, and I did this so you don't have to. Imagine 2 hours and 15 minutes of the movie when it says part 4, and you know that there's 7.
Do you have to click a different file each time?
No, but it does have it split. Like you will be able to skip from part to part.
But it doesn't say like.
From what I saw, like
next.
the parts weren't split up in like a really discernible manner.
Interesting.
It's not like I was like my favorite part was part 3. I don't know.
Well,
part 4.
Let's get back into Star Wars.
I know I may have just doxed myself.
That's it. Oh no. Well, that's the kind of content you get on Droids Pod Plus. See?
There it is. We do want to mention the High Republic, Light of the Jedi, has not gone from our minds. We all have lives, commitments, things going on. Sometimes we just don't get to read 5 chapters the way we want to. So we will get back to our breakdown of the remaining chapters. Again, we are enjoying it greatly. We can't wait to talk about it more.
Can I say my idea for Droids Pod Plus is that we post our text chains where we explain to each other how we didn't get the reading done.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be our new text off. It's just me being like, listen, guys,
then,
work is crazy. I don't think I'm going to get to it.
Yep.
Yeah. Guys, I'm having a mental breakdown. I don't think I'm going to be able to read this week.
Also, the precedent that was set at the beginning of this book, the chapters were like 3 pages, and I could read them in like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
they really pulled a fast one on us because now the chapters
19
are
was like 27 pages,
yeah,
and I was like, oh no,
here's 60 pages about the Nile. But I'm enjoying it, and I don't want to rush it. So sorry, audience.
Well, the great thing is, Chris, I don't know if you want to tease what's coming in Droids world, but there's we're going to have kind of like a repository of everything.
Yeah. So, as you know, you could find us online on Instagram at DroidsPod, YouTube, DroidsPod. What is it? Our YouTube? Oh, watch the Jedi Fallen Order playthrough by Ryan. You can find us on Facebook, Droids You're Looking For Podcast, and email us, droidspod@gmail.com. But we thought it'd be a good idea to kind of put all this information in one central place. I know we have some series that we've run. We've read through the Duel of the Fates, Colin Trevorrow's script. We've done recaps for all the episodes of The Mandalorian, and like just mentioned, we were doing the chapters for the High Republic, and we still are doing that. We plan to continue that trend. So we've built a website, which will be released in the coming weeks, where we kind of take those episodes and we put them in little collections in easy to listen to format, so that way, if you're not completely caught up on the reading or the watching, you can just go visit our website, and then you can just click at your own leisure. You don't have to dig through iTunes. We get all the attribution, so don't worry about that. But always like and subscribe. And we'll put some other fun little things on there from the droids. We'll have a little mailing letter, and I don't know, maybe we'll give something away.
I love it, Chris. I mean, we both, you and I, have some posters that we could give away.
Yeah.
I think there's some figures that we have as well.
Yeah.
I do think that it's a great thing that we'll probably do on the podcast is anytime we have new listeners joining, we send them that way so they can find some of the great stuff we've talked about over the years. Honestly, when I go back and rewatch The Mandalorian, I want to listen to our episodes again.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of great stuff. And Chris, so excited to see that go live. So we'll keep people posted about it.
Yeah. Stay tuned. Yeah, we also have our saga rewatches on there too. There's some gems in there, and we pick out our favorite eps and things like that too. So kind of the repository.
The Lost Last Jedi rewatch is not in there. That one that didn't record.
Oh, there you go. You know what? That's Droids Pod Plus content.
Because didn't we stop like 40 minutes into the movie and we couldn't keep it up?
We lost the record.
Yeah.
I want to say that other Star Wars podcasts that I've listened to did the Light of the Jedi in one episode, which means it came out and they just read it.
Well,
should we have done that?
Yeah,
I think we like to give the people a little more bang for their buck.
In that Droids Plus buck.
In that Droids Plus buck. That's right.
Well, I do think, and this is being serious, some of the other books, I think the Light of the Jedi, what are now going to be the core stories will probably go through in this way, but I think like the other titles we'll read, come back, talk about them in an episode. Like I think the other one that came out by Claudia Gray, I think we'll kind of just summarize that and talk about it rather than going through chapter by chapter. But they're meant to be. My
copy did arrive, though.
Oh, that's good.
All right.
Yeah.
Because they're meant to be like the ones. These are these like linchpins in the rest of everything that flows around it. Are these the one that released in January, and then the other one that's releasing in June. So we do have to get this first one done before June, guys. We do have a deadline.
We're almost there. We're getting it. We'll be done.
Well, let's jump into a few things news that we want to talk about. Very exciting news is there's a lot of Star Wars stuff that, many of us, we've talked about how this group hadn't watched all of the Clone Wars until recently. I'm still, I think, the one holdout who hasn't finished, or maybe Sam hasn't finished as well. But they are releasing on Disney Plus the Ewok stories, so the Ewok movies. They're Caravan of Courage, Battle of Endor, Star Wars Ewok Season 1 and 2. The story of the faithful Wookiee, which I've never even heard of before. Is that the one that's the Star Wars Holiday Special where it introduces Boba Fett? Yeah, okay. I didn't realize it was labeled that. And then the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars, Volume 1 and 2, which I know, Ryan, you've seen. Chris, have you seen it? I have not seen it, so I am over the moon because I've heard so many great things about this.
I've seen part 1, or Volume 1. I had that on DVD, and then I was not able to find Volume 2 ever. I'm sure it's out there.
And I have Volume 2, so if we join together, like two best friend half hearts.
I'll cut my DVD in half, and you cut yours in half, and we can give each other...
I'm already wearing as a necklace, but... So there's going to be a lot of hot takes coming out online. I've already seen them. There was an article, I forget where it was, so I'm sorry I can't attribute it, but saying like the better Clone Wars animated show is coming out on Disney Plus. There's going to be a lot of stuff like that. It's good. It's very cool. I think that saying it's the better one is just more of an artifact of the fact that it was not available for a long time.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I wonder why they... I guess it could be a little confusing for audiences if there was two of them out at the same time. And sometimes the episodes are very similar to the actual Clone Wars, I noticed. There's a few.
So Genndy Tartakovsky has like a very specific kind of aesthetic, and a lot of the Clone Wars episodes, if I'm remembering correctly, it's kind of like Samurai Jack, which he also did, where for the most part they're almost silent films.
Yeah,
like there's not very much dialogue at all.
Yeah.
Which is cool, and it's like they're like 15-minute episodes. It's a cool thing, but I think to say it's the better one is a little bit of a hyperbolic statement.
I feel like they might have been almost purposefully designed that way to literally fill in the gaps between episodes, because I think it came out right around in between 2 and 3. Whereas the Clone Wars animated series did not. So it could have been kind of like, let's get this out there.
So, like, when General Grievous shows up, my understanding is, like, when General Grievous shows up in Episode 3 with a cough, to say the least, it's referencing something that happened. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi crushes his chest in an episode of the Clone Wars. So it was released before. It was like a lead-up to Episode 3. Where the Clone Wars, the Filoni show was all completely after.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I mean it's cool, and like from what I understand, I think there's only like 2 or 3 hours of it.
Yeah.
So it'll be easy to kind of fly through, and I'm excited that it's available.
That's great.
How many episodes of the Droids should we break that out into? 17?
I think we could probably stretch it over 3 or 4 years.
All right.
Each 15 minutes. We'll split them into 7 minutes.
Guys didn't have time to watch the Clone Wars episode today. Things got crazy.
Well, I do think we should do a discussion, because obviously with it being top of mind, not only for us, but for anybody who's on Disney Plus watching these, and for those who've seen it before and those who are watching it for the first time, I think it'd be a great thing to
remember.
In April. So we look forward to those discussions on the pod. And again, I think the Ewok stuff, I think I vaguely remember watching them as a kid. I know there are diehard Caravan of Courage and Battle for Endor fans, and respect to them, as that fandom has, been around for a long, long time. I wonder how it would hold up for those who didn't have the rose-colored glasses of childhood on.
Not well. Nigh unwatchable.
Are these... I'll be honest. I think we had a guest on the pod a while back, Matt Davidson. I think he talked about Adventures with us way back when. But he was a huge fan of these. They're live action or are they animated?
Yeah,
I know they're...
live action.
Okay, but there is also an animated Ewok series,
which is also coming to Disney Plus on April 2nd.
Great.
Yep.
I have a animation cell from that series.
How did you get that, Chris?
Wow.
Well, I belong to the Star Wars fan clubs since 1998 or something like that.
What a geek. What a nerd.
And they were supposed to send you this. It was kind of funny. They're supposed to send you this envelope that just had a bunch of fan stuff in it for signing up. But it's very clear that they just grabbed whatever was around the office. So I got something that was just from a past celebration that was just a flyer. But they did have this animation cell in it, but it wasn't too pristinely kept. It was just kind of thrown in there. And I have to find it. Cool. I'll find it. I'll take a picture. I'll put it on the website. Maybe, hey, that would be a fun thing to give away. Maybe. We'll see.
I don't know. That
We're going to
seems
start
like
an
a prize
OnlyFans
possession.
where Chris only posts pictures of his old Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So
pretty much doing that on
onlyfans.com/ Chris.
I'm doing that on TikTok already for the droids,
Yeah.
and people
Yeah.
don't care. Well, they did get mad at me when I said I would open
Yeah.
one of the figures. I get it, but I also am like, for something that's worth $3, do I really need to hold on to it in
Right
the package anymore?
now,
Yeah, because it's definitely going
$3
up.
right now. There was a time where a Charizard card was only worth $4. You know,
So were they canonical, those series? I'm surprised I know so little about them as we're talking about them now. Like, I legitimately remember just seeing them at the video store, but never renting them or never having.
You mean the live action movies?
Yeah,
I
imagine
believe
they're canon.
they're supposed to be.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure that anything like really substantial happens that would affect other canon in them.
Right.
But
Like, I'm
Warwick-
not sure if at the end of it, they're like, who's going to save this baby Ewok? And then, like, Luke shows up and the internet cries.
Yeah. What if we find it's just the plot of The Mandalorian?
God.
Okay, wait a second. That's what
Yeah,
they
they
had to
find
wait.
a baby Ewok. That sounds like something that would happen.
But Warwick Davis is in these, isn't he?
Oh, wow. I'm a fan.
I don't know if he's in them.
Well, let's just take a look. Yeah, he is. He's in the Ewok Adventure.
Is he
As-
Warwick
As
W?
Wicket?
Warwick? Yeah,
Wicket W. Warwick? Is he
Yeah, he's
playing the
Wicket.
same character?
yeah, he's playing Wicket.
All right, there we go.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we.
Well, how
you know,
about
this
it?
might be a great opportunity for an upcoming live droids. Right?
Yeah.
Let's
I
go
like
through this,
this.
having
I
never
think
watched
so.
it before.
I think so, yes.
I like this a lot. I'm excited now.
It's only 90 minutes. That's
only 90 minutes. It's like an
Never
hour
mind.
more than I
Never mind,
expected.
can't do it.
it is written by George. The story
wow.
is not the actual script, but the story. Or maybe he's getting the story credit because it's based on
The script was written by Charlie Kaufman.
Is this one of those deals where he gets the story credit because he goes into the room and just stamps a bunch of pictures that he likes?
Yeah, that could be.
This one. This one. This one.
But again, we're just kind of burning through what our upcoming content's going to be. I think we're going to be really having some fun stuff coming up here.
Yeah.
Ooh, Wilford Brimley. I forgot he's in the Battle for Endor. So
Are these on
Are
TV?
you guys
Did
familiar
they
with the Wilford Brimley line?
which one?
So this is just a fun Twitter account that every time a celebrity turns an age older than Wilford Brimley was the day the Cocoon came out, they post about it, and it just highlights how old Wilford Brimley seemed at the time. So, like, Paul Rudd is now older than Wilford Brimley was in Cocoon. And that's all they do. It's just, that's the only thing, is that this person has now crossed the Wilford Brimley Cocoon line. And it's like Tom Cruise.
Because what? Wilford Brimley looked like he was 70.
Yeah,
when
he
was
just
probably
looked
about
like an
30.
old guy.
Yeah.
But now actors don't look at all that old.
Yeah,
when they turn-
exactly. It's like a 55-year-old was Wilford Brimley
Yeah.
once. And now a 55-year-old is Tom Cruise.
Yeah, because when the Natural came out, he was 50, and he definitely looks like he's at least mid 70s in the Natural.
Yeah. He looks 1,000.
All right, well, let's get back to some of the other news. We really only had kind of two things we're going to talk about this week. The other one is the news about Kathleen Kennedy, and this isn't that big a news. This is what we all knew was really happening, unless you live in a different corner of the internet, and there's a lot of people who live in that corner of the internet who believe that there's been some sort of shadow puppet world happening within Lucasfilm. She's been disregarded in some way, isn't actually impacting any of the current work. Well, Bob Chapek, who's the new CEO of Disney, and this is, to my knowledge, the only recent commentary from anyone at the high level of Disney talking about Kathleen Kennedy specifically. Someone asked about whether or not she was being fired on some sort of investor call, which, that's really worthwhile. I'm glad those questions are coming up on an investor call. And Chapek says, "We've been absolutely thrilled that we can have the creative talent in our company, the likes of Kathleen Kennedy. We look forward to having Kathleen directing Lucasfilm activities for years to come." Does that
Wow.
put things to bed? Probably not. We live in a very different conspiracy era where someone's probably like, Chapek
Wait.
had a gun to his head. He had to say that.
Wait. Did he say years or just year? I need the audio.
Years.
For a year to come.
Years. But, I mean, I can't go down. I've never really spent any time going down the rabbit hole of YouTube Star Wars Kathleen Kennedy conspiracy theorists, but they get lots of views.
Yeah.
And that they probably took this as, oh, they're just saying that now before they fire her tomorrow.
I don't.
Yeah, we don't need to give airtime to them.
I
I just want to make sure we all know
it's
it's reaffirmed. She's doing a great job making billions of dollars. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, it's like
It's so funny.
It's
Well,
been
I'm
an
glad
incredibly
it's
fruitful
confirmed
enterprise.
she's here to stay. And that makes me happy. So they should say that every other day.
I mean, there are some people in this world though that like won't be happy until Kevin Feige is like running everything.
Right.
You know?
The Justice League, the Feige cut.
Now that's something. That's something.
But I heard a really interesting discussion on the Watch Pod, which I know we enjoy. We've talked about it before, but they were talking about what Marvel and Star Wars is now is if you continue to never answer any questions and just keep the ball floating, then you keep people interested. As in, you just get to the point where maybe you're tipping the scale, but really you're just allowing theory from theory from theory, and you don't give a resolution. You never have to conclude a story. And as we saw with The Rise of Skywalker, and we've seen with other, endeavors, I mean, Endgame was the exception, trying to conclude a story doesn't always end up well. Game of Thrones is another very good example. So if you can just keep things in play for so long and give another twist here, another cameo here, big character reveal here, spin more theories, let people just go and run with it, you never have to end anything and never pay anything off, which comes down to being somewhat hollow in the storytelling, but there's a lot of people that we've found don't care whether or not the storytelling is hollow. So it's a whole different conversation, but I just found that very interesting.
Yeah.
And it seems like, that's probably the big corporation way of doing this, because if you end anything, you're just going to upset people and you can't continue to make as much money off of it.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's like it's what comic books have been doing for time immemorial, and it's what the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been very successful at, which is just kind of like keep it like even when it seems like it's over, just throw one more thing in and then show that it's not over, and we'll keep going, and like that's valuable for that. That's fun. I think that we've expressed that it's not really what we're looking for in Star Wars. I certainly don't think though that that's like a Kathleen Kennedy thing. It's it's just like it's the way that franchise filmmaking is going.
It just evolved into that because, I mean, it's just unsustainable. I think people just want these movies faster, so now it's just going to be these series that are going to do that.
Here's a light spoiler for the Snyder Cut, right? The Snyder Cut, we know, is like not getting like it's a movie that doesn't exist. It's like it's a thing that like was made. They've said it's not canon, whatever, in the DCEU. The Snyder Cut still ends on a cliffhanger. A movie that we like definitively is not getting a sequel unless people, unless Twitter goes on and on until whatever.
Yeah.
But like, the first off, the Ben Affleck is too old to be playing Batman now. It's like it's over.
So much time
that
has
movie
left.
still ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So it's just like this is like what franchise movies are now.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the idea of, and I hate using this word, but like George Lucas was like, he was an auteur of sorts, and he was an anomaly in the world of franchise filmmaking because he decided once and for all when things ended until he sold it. But like, so that doesn't really exist anymore. There's too many there's too many things at stake. There's too much financial things in play.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of the whole point. Is like what made Star Wars great was he was able to run it the way he wanted to run it, and now Star Wars is just like the rest of it.
Well,
and is not in any way left to an auteur of any kind.
I think you also brought up kind of the financial side of this too, which is like anyone that thought that like, oh man, Kathleen Kennedy's doing a terrible job. Like she has probably, I don't know, like 5 of the 10 highest grossing films under her belt from like the last decade, and then previous to that, like,
Oh yeah.
and then also one of the most successful streaming TV shows of like all time, just coming out of on a service that like just didn't exist 2 years ago. So it's like, yeah, no, she's not gonna get fired. She's a money making, like she's making so much money, and she's super good at what she does.
That was all Favreau. It was Favreau.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, she has both parts of the equation here. She makes extremely good stuff, and the studio a ton of money. But to your point, though, it's like, yeah, that was never George Lucas's like drive to stay in business. I'm sure he liked that, but it was his thing, and he could shut it down when he wanted.
Very much so. Well, guys, I mean, that's pretty much what we have to talk about this week. As usual, I think what turned into what we thought was a very straightforward couple of news items, another wonderful conversation on the droids. This is why we're here. This is why you pay the extra dollars.
Yeah, I was going to say. And how does that work? If you've listened this far, they just get billed on their iTunes?
Yeah.
Is that...
Yeah. Well, that's coming all straight to us.
Yeah.
Apple's
You're
not
going to
taking
get a bill. Comes in on the king tide.
Yeah, you get a bill. Yeah. It has one of those, those credit card swipe machines they used to have?
You know what? We'll just come by your domicile with one of those Square plugins for our phone.
No. Watto will come by.
Exactly.
We're sending Watto to collect.
Oh,
We take Republic
You don't want
credits.
us to send Watto.
We take Republic credits, which honestly they should have. Have you seen how the price on those have skyrocketed?
How much more than Beskar?
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Well, that will do it for the Droids You're Looking For, a Star Wars podcast. Join us again next week, and we'll get back into the High Republic. Hopefully, Sam will be able to join us again. That will do it for this week's edition of the Droids.
What big road? Annie? Okay.